Don't attack me. Well, this is any cover of such events, invite family. Because you never know, hata kama ni ladies wanatafuta maybe wewe ukaonekana ukafutwa, you never know. But again, you need to show yourself. Okay? I really like to recognize my fellow colleague who came today. He started with me. I work with him at Vodafone, and I think it was short what he said. Yeah. I was talking to a friend. I was also saying, man, can I go to the events that I happened on Saturday, and then he came. So, a fellow colleague, I was calling for all the developers. So, thank you for appreciating it. Hi, so Andy, this is you, and the rest of okay, now I mean. Andy, helping to organize this event. Andy is the one who is the country lead for Kotlin community here. But he's been attending the community events online group and whatnot, and actually JetBrains in Sabua. So when Kotlin Conference, when I hosted an event about 2 weeks ago, or 3, they reached out to see if they can host a community event in your local chapter. So he's our host for today. Please give him the energy that he needs, okay? And all the other speakers. Is that okay? Thanks very much. Andy, back to you. Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's Lieutenant Makuja. And napewa microphone hapa. I'm new to this stuff, and as Naamini said, najifichaga sana. So those few who know me, tunaonana event kwa event, and okay, this thing works like this. Those who know me, tunakutana event kwa event, because hapo katikati, I'm usually inside my bubble. But again, tumekutana for Kotlin Conf, and we're all excited to be here, I guess. Naona tumechelewa kuanza, and we would wait for more, but we also want to go with time. Hatutaki to encourage lateness. Kwa hiyo, let's just kick it off. Now, as Naamini said, I'm a Kotlin moderator, and I actually oversee more than what she said. So for me, I moderate Eastern, Central, and Southern part of Africa for Kotlin. And for that aspect, in a way, na partner sana with people from JetBrains wenyewe. We were this close to have someone kabisa from JetBrains be here with us, but kidogo schedule yake na yetu zikapishana. So sorry for that. It was supposed to be more exciting than that. But bottom line, we are here now, and this is what we're about to do, and it's Kotlin Conf. So before we get started, nataka niweke things up front, things ambavyo tulifanya intentionally. You might notice a very casual vibe. It's intentional. We don't want to go very serious with our conferences because we are casual people. So in case you're surprised, this is so casual. It's by design. It's meant to be casual. So relax. Don't be so tense. It's still professional, but we want also to keep it casual. So to interact on a very personal level, lakini pia tuna exchange the concepts of what we all know. I'm supposed to give you an opening keynote, and because of that, inabidi kwanza niwapatie insight kidogo on what Kotlin is, what Kotlin Conf, and what Kotlin Conf Global is, and then we get to our personal event. So how many here know Kotlin in general? Very few, very few. Wangapi don't know Kotlin? Okay. Wangapi, they have heard of Kotlin, but they don't know what it's about. Ukiachana na the event, of course, maana ulijua ni Kotlin Conf. So I've heard there is something called Kotlin, sijui vizuri, but nimeisikia. hands up. Okay, na ambao hajawahi kusikia kabisa about Kotlin? Never heard of it, apart from this event, never heard of Kotlin. Actually, that's a good start, that's a good start. So, just in a very quick summary, Kotlin is one of those other programming languages. Kwa wale ambao mmefuatilia kidogo history of programming languages, or ambao you got into the industry a little bit earlier than hivi karibuni, programming languages zilianza in a very low level, from the assembly all the way, tuka pass through IDA, Fortran, and tukasettle a lot kwenye C. And for a very long time, we were calling C a high-level language, and actually it is. So we all know kuna the binary, which is the intermediate, hapo ambao ni assembly, and then we have these so-called high-level languages, which C, C++, even Java. Just to segue that to what Kotlin Conf is. Now, the company behind Kotlin, ambayo inaitwa JetBrains, they've been coding Kotlin for a very long time. They first released Kotlin in 2012, and that was the first release, but like the official writing started way back, somewhere around 2003, if I remember it correctly. So it was a very long effort. Kulikuwa kuna a lot of refactoring, and then by 2012, they officially announced Kotlin, and around, I think a few years later, Google adopted Kotlin as the first class language on Android devices. So because of that, pia na kuweza kumobilize the community of different Kotlin users, then kukawa kuna conferences zina happen every year. Now the problem is that not everyone can afford to go to these events, kwa sababu it's a global event. Kwa mfano, this year, Kotlin Conf ilifanyika in Copenhagen, Denmark. And not everyone can attend. You can't have a venue to accommodate all people. Lakini pia kuna limitations like pesa, financials, some legal, kutafuta visa and all that. And for that happened kwenye the main Kotlin Conf, like ambayo may happen this time, but now it's happening here as well. Zinatengenezwa na JetBrains, and their whole business model is about selling these, kufanya the development with the small team that he had. Now, while they were doing it, now they were trying to explore, okay, so because now we have this opportunity, what should we have in mind? So the first thing, they isolated the target platform from the language. And just ili tuelewe kidogo, for those ambao wame code in Java, Java was pitched as it's write once, run everywhere. But we all know, like, that's not really what happened in a way. Kuna environments you can't run Java. A very good example is in the browser, right? But ingawa kulikuwa kuna solutions zilikuwa in place, they were just not conducive. So a platform like Java has something called a Java virtual machine. And your program has to run on top of that virtual machine, right? So when we say the JVM platform, tunamaanisha the JVM virtual machine. And the guys at Sun Microsystem ambao then walikuwa na ndo walioandika Java, they were later acquired by Oracle. But the guys at Sun Microsystems, they coupled everything. So the language, now the platform is really indistinguishable, to the point ya kwamba if you write Java, by default, the assumption was it's going to run in a Java virtual machine. So because of that, ikawa ngumu sana kujaribu kuport Java in other places that it's not targeting the Java virtual machine. Attempts were made. Kuna tools kama waliofanya GWT. Anyone tried to use GWT back in the days? You understand the hassle. So attempts were made to run Java in other platforms, but they have proven to be kidogo. Kulikuwa pia kuna Java applets, I remember, on the browsers, was very, very bulky. Ilibidi upload kitu kama megabyte 3 au 4 for just a simple hello world. It was really not conducive for our environment. So the guys at JetBrains decided, let's create a language that could be decoupled from the platform. So a language where you can write it and then you can choose and compile this language to JVM. And when they did that, they started to experiment. What other platform could we compile to? So the first thing they experimented was the easy platform, and That's the JavaScript runtime, right? So your browser also runs on some sort of a virtual machine as well. It's a JavaScript. When you emit valid JavaScript from a different code, what wanasema, they call that transpilation, right? But it's a whole another topic. But while they were experimenting with this idea, wakagundua ya kwamba, you actually can take something like Kotlin and then compile it into JavaScript. Actually nice. For a moment there, the language and where they were sure like this, you can use it, it's stable, and it was the JVM platform and the Android platform. And actually the way it happened on Android is someone from Google came and asked, can we run Kotlin on Android? And Andrei Breslov was like, I think it should be possible because we have targeted all these platforms, right? Why would it be harder to target Android? So they tried it, although it was not as straightforward as he thought, but baadaye wali succeed. And just a quick recap hapo ni kwamba Android is, we say Android runs Java, lakini in reality it's really not Java kwa sababu the virtual machine ambayo Android run, they called it Dalvik then. Sasa hivi we're using something else called Android Runtime, ART. So it really looks like Java, and in a way, it behaves like Java, but it's a different virtual machine. So they had to introduce, so initially alifikiri they could just take their JVM subset, their code ambayo na target Kotlin to JVM and just copy some stuffs and target Android, and boom, it was like that. But they ended up doing extra work. But mwisho wa siku, it was very, we promised, tulisema tutasema tofauti iliyopo kati ya cross-platform and multi-platform. So, and I think this is the best important, the best part to say what is the difference between these two. So, Kotlin is not the only language that has tried to target other platforms. We are well aware of things like Dart and Flutter, ambazo you write in a single code base, you deploy to other devices. But also, zamani we had things like Apache Cordova and PhoneGap, which were doing something similar. We also have React Native as well, that does something similar. Unaandika tu kodi yako moja in JavaScript, and then you can compile for desktop nowadays, and Linux, Windows, all of that. But how all of these tools work under the hood is they add another layer of abstraction on top of that. So a very good example, and I can say this kwa sababu I know it fully, I can't say much about Flutter, but I know when you React Native, when you compile your JavaScript, it runs on another JavaScript environment. So every React Native inakuwa shipped with a JavaScript environment bundled. And I'm not so sure, but I think it's the V8 engine, inakuwa bundled within the React Native application. And then that gets to run, it calls another process. I won't get into what the process is. It calls another process to instruct that environment to render the UI in a native way. And that inter-process communication, ambayo iliandikwa hapo, they called it the React Native Bridge, which is literally bridging the gaps between the JavaScript you write and the application that you run. Now, ukiangalia these abstractions, the way they live, or you have the machine code that is running the instructions, for example, on Android, and then you have the Dalvik runtime, which is like a Java runtime, and then you have the React Native bridge, and then you have your code running. So all these layers of abstraction, they just lead into interesting bugs, and inakuwa not so pleasant. And you target Android with Kotlin, coding maybe for Linux, maybe it's a x64 machine. You're literally targeting that platform and that architecture. So the Kotlin code the way around as well. So you can write your function in C and call it that. So I tested it, and weirdly, I was naive at that time, but I'm glad I was. I just brought in Kotlin to that project that I was working on. It was somewhere mid. The project was already like a month late, and I'm here introducing another language. So what I did was I just followed the instructions to do the configurations, and then I just wrote a Kotlin class. And the syntax was so easy for me to pick it up because it's JavaScript-ish, and then a little bit of Java-ish, and then a little bit of Swift. So because I kind of like have a sense of familiarity with these languages, it was very easy for me to pick up the Kotlin syntax. So because I was working on a Java code base, and if you all know Java, it's just if you're creating something like a plain old Java object, the POJOs, you have to instantiate a class, set a property, put getters and setters, maybe add like a no argument constructor. It's like a whole dance for just setting up a very basic class. And I had all of those everywhere because, I mean, that was the Java way. And when I introduced Kotlin, I end up turning functions that are, I don't know, 60, 68, all the way to 100 lines long. You would literally compress that into, like, I don't know, like a 10-line of code class. And then everything just works. So initially I was like, this can't be. Anyway, so what the mental model I had was, so anything new from now on, as I go on, I will be writing in Kotlin, because I don't want to go and change everything. So anything new, I will be writing in Kotlin. Anything that still remains Java, if I get the time, I'll change it. So that was the logic that I had. And then I started working on the project, opening up Kotlin files. Now, the IDE also participated a lot in fully converting me into a Kotlin guy, because our IDEs nowadays, they have this functionality. You could navigate to the source. So maybe you're calling a function, and then you can just double click on that function, or maybe command click, and then it would take you to where the function was defined. So I had this mentality. So I'm writing a Kotlin because Kotlin is more convenient. So I'm writing a Kotlin class. And then I have to call maybe another pre-existing class because I have all these utilities written out. And then I navigate to that utility. It's a very big and clunky code base written in Java. And I would just tell myself, I think it would just take a few minutes to change this into Kotlin. So I would change it into Kotlin and then continue working. But as you're working on a large project, the more you keep on navigating, the more I discovered, like, I could change that. That would probably just take me 2 minutes. You know, that one can take like an hour, but I think it's worth the effort. So it took a very short time. All of my code base was converted into Kotlin, and that's how I got into Kotlin and the whole multi-platformicity of it. That's a mouthful. Yeah. So what happened now in Kotlin Conf is they introduced Kotlin 2.0. Kotlin 2.0 is they reworked the previous Kotlin compiler. And the reason they did is these translations of the way they would translate Kotlin code to different platforms, they had to do a lot of code duplications, at least because they were experimenting, as I told you. And these code duplications made it very challenging to add new language features, because the moment you add a language feature, you have to also go and change the way the compiler would interpret this language feature in this environment, and this environment, and this other environment, and this other environment. And I've been doing that, but it was just not as a very productive and a very efficient way to go forward. So what they did is they introduced a new compiler, they're calling it K2, or Kotlin 2.0, which just centralizes all of that into one place and lifts all the heavy lifting and puts it in a centralized place. So right now, when maybe we're adding a new syntax into the language or a new feature, so for example, there are some features, I'll just brush over them by, but now it's very easy to add new features, and by just doing that, all of a sudden, they're available on all platforms. So you need maybe to write an extension function, and all of a sudden, like, you could target all other places with that particular feature. So that was really exciting. Another thing that was announced at Kotlin Conf, it was Compose. Now, I've already gone here and say Kotlin targets multi-platform, but for a very long time, the Kotlin community did not have a UI toolkit for you to write once and target all platforms. So they were like, we're interoperable. You can use whatever UI toolkit you want. So if you're doing Android, you can write your UI in Android. If you're doing, I don't know, Swift, you could write your UI in Swift UI. If you're doing JavaScript, or let me not get started with JavaScript, you could use whatever framework is there, right? Svelte, React, Solid. It might even be a song right now. But a lot of people kept asking, we need something that is just Kotlin in a way. And then, yes, we can do the interop, but sometimes we don't want to. If we can just get the thing, and then let the thing do the thing and the other thing, that's what happened. So Compose was launched as a UI kit for developing Android, but as of this moment, Compose can target multiple platforms as well. This event, we are going to also showcase a little bit. I would urge us to take that as an opportunity to see it's a tool that can be used in a versatile environment, and we can actually leverage its uses. So one of the things I would like us to talk about, at least in a talk later, is what would you expect to be using, and how are you currently using Kotlin? And provided that you've gained new information from this, maybe if you have any plans to either try or actually just integrate it in your tools, it will be something very important, and I would like us to go it over a bit. I think I've spoken too much, and but that is what an opening keynote has to be, I guess. So before we go to the next talk, hoping Mr. Yesaya is getting ready for his talk on Ktor, I would like to ask just a few questions on, and I think everyone has to be engaged in this, although I won't prompt everyone to answer, but I'll pick at random, and trust my random number generator is as perfect as they come. So, let's start with brother. When you came to this event, what did you expect mostly to get out of this event?
Firstly, I expect to know how Kotlin works. Because for me, it is a new language, it is a new file. So I want to see how Kotlin works, and it is powerful. Because I was in this Kotlin page just to get started with Kotlin, check the syntax, the capabilities. So I found it is multi-platform and all stuff, maybe like an analysis in backend. So I was expecting to see a lot of Kotlin.
That is interesting. So you're expecting to learn more about what Kotlin does. Okay, anyone has another different kind of expectations to this event? If you want to raise your hand, I'm going to select at random.
For me, I expected to know how Kotlin works. That is, we have 2.0 version of this Kotlin. So
Yeah.
I want to know also how the previous version, this one, is different. But start on how you have said that the concept of multi-platform.
Yeah.
And the Kotlin compiler knows or executing some script on different architectures.
That's actually a very, very interesting question. We got a compiler question out of here. Can anyone answer that? It's an open talk. Again, it's a discussion. Who has ever tried to write a compiler, even for just toying it out? Anyone? No one. Okay. Who has ever taken an initiative to look at compiler code at a point? No one? So we are all using the tools. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? So actually, it's actually true. But I have dabbled in compilers a bit. I have not yet fully created one myself from the ground up, except the toy ones. But the question that you've asked is a general compiler question altogether. So let me start with the compiler that I think it's the easiest to understand, the C compiler. So the way the C compiler works is it would take your code and then would translate every instruction. So okay, the first thing it does something called parsing. So it will just try to understand what code are you writing. So if this is a struct, or if it's a function, or if it's just a variable, and then we'll collect information. What is the type of that variable? If it's a class, what is its name? How many members does it have? So how many memory can I allocate it? After parsing, it does something called tokenization. It's just everything that I said, but it's a fancy word for it. Yeah. So and then after tokenization, it creates something called an abstract syntax tree, which is it's just a representation of your code, but in code, right? Because if I tell you right now to write a class of what a person is, you're just going to go a class person and whatnot. But now, if I have to write a code that would represent your code, it means I'm going to say, like, we have a file, maybe called person. This file has a class named person as well, and this class has these 3 properties, and they're this size. So it's exactly that, but now if it's in code, you should expect it's a massive bundle of tree, really, that would represent your code. Now when you arrive at the tree level, all that I've spoken about is called the front end side of the compiler. Compilers have 2 sides. They have a front end side and a back end side. So every front end compiler does that. Some do a little bit things there, including the Kotlin compiler. So there are some things that they're called desugaring. I think this is a good. It's like a good hint or a good note. So for example, in Kotlin, every time you write your if conditions, when the compiler reaches at the abstract syntax tree stage, they're all changed into while. Into while. So Kotlin has something called a while expression. So all your ifs are changed into whiles, and that just makes it easier for the compiler to run more optimizations and whatnot. There are other methods that they're being done to just translate the code into a much more easier way to understand. But when that is, those instructions, they are different in every platform. So for example, in Java, you'd have things like iload for loading integers, you'd have fload for loading floats, but is in the JVM, sorry. In JavaScript, you have something different, as well as native cases, you also have something different. So what they do now, to answer your question, how does the compiler know, is for example, Intel themselves, they publish this. So there is, if you Google right now, like the Intel instruction set, it's there. So you just have to find a way now to convert your code into the Intel instruction set. If you Google like the JVM bitcode, they're all there, and they're around 256. So you just have to handle like 256 possibilities, although they kind of combine and mix up in a very interesting way. Yeah. So at that point, now you just see, if I want to target this, I just need to teach my compiler how to target this architecture. I just need to teach my compiler how to target this architecture, including actually there is a new platform, if you have been interested in, called WebAssembly, and in short, it's WASM. And WASM, a lot of programmers that are more talented by me, they're making really big claims about WASM. And I think in a way, after looking into it, I can also follow what they're saying. So one of the things is WASM is also like its own runtime as well. It also has its own instruction set. So what they did is just they took their code and found a way to translate into that specific environment. And actually, in a nutshell, that's what a compiler does. And it's a very complicated task. But it's not complicated because it's hard, it's tedious. Still we're not. Is this necessary? Okay, so after that long intro, 2 things. One, we need to let people know that we're here and we're trying to have a good time. Because so there's still more to come. So we're trying to have a good time. So, mpaka sasa kuna mtu yote ame tweet anything or ame post anything? Giveaways. Oh, what is your name, my friend? I did not see any tweets. Fatma. Okay, did you tag GDG?
So
This live session.
you posted. Okay. So I'll take your username. You'll get a swag. So post and share whatever is happening with anything. The person who's gonna have a lot of engagement with any posts will get even more swags. Yani kama ulikuwa una t-shirt na kuongezea, kama ulikuwa una pin, yani ikiwezekana leo unaweza kaondoka uko hivi and just like walk away with a lot of swags. Okay? So tweet and share and I don't know, with anything that is happening here, let the world know that this is happening. That is number one. Don't forget to, where's Andy? I'm sorry, we want to present, let me tell you something. We have coders ambao hawezi kutengeneza very simple things. For example, you want to create a form. So unaenda Google Forms, alafu unatengeneza form, si ndio? We have organizers hapa ambao hawataki mambo rahisi. Wao wana code ili form ionekane. Kwa hapa we cannot even like add something kwa sababu ni code hizo ndo zilizo run easy presentations zote. That's how talented and a bit too much our organizers are. But it is fun to know kwamba kuna talent. So please project hashtags so people can use the hashtags because this tuko tunaangalia kwa hashtags. JetBrains know that we are hosting this event, so if we put a certain hashtag, itakuwa easier for them to see our highlights. Right? Yeah. So please assist in adding the hashtags. And also, kama umepata QR code, yeah, the pictures that are being taken, you can use the pictures, or you can take nice photos, guys. Call smile. You never know, somebody might be snapping you. And then share, okay? So wait on the hashtags, share, and then tag Sarufi AI, tag Simplify TZ, and tag GDG Dar. Because that's the only way we will know. Okay, post it to it, it's gonna be a bit hard for us to know that you're, is that okay? You're projecting?
Yeah, I'm putting hashtags.
So put the hashtags and the accounts are our sponsors and ours too, right? So Fatma, you get a swag, though I've not seen that post, but you get a swag.
It's coming. Just
Who is coming? It's all right. Right? Awesome. Anybody else? You can tag, what are the hashtags? But kuna hashtag Kotlin Conf Global 2024. Hashtag Kotlin Conf Global 2024 Dar. Because again, we're in Dar, so we need to add our own tag. And then GDG Dar. Repeat again. Hashtag Kotlin Conf, yeah, C-O-N-F, Kotlin Conf Global 2024. Or the same, and then add Dar, as in Dar es Salaam, just add Dar. And ina project tu sasa hivi, sema mimi na kielele changu. I want you guys to start posting so we can see. And then hashtag GDG Dar or tag GDG Dar. But also tag SimpliTech, Simplify TZ, and Sarufi AI. Because they are the ones that are enabling us to be here today. So we have to acknowledge their contribution to our community. Kwa hapo unaandaa tweet, unasubia tu hashtag zikiprojectiwa tu hapo shwa. Una add. Okay? Now confirm and add. Are you ready? Ngoja kwanza. Nabii usogea hapa. Au? Itadusunusu huko. Yeah, hapo sasa msiano.
should I repeat? Okay, so I don't know how to put this. If you can help me put it, I don't see it. help, please? Yeah, I hope it's fine now. So basically what Osana Technology does, it does a lot of trainings. We also develop different digital solutions. Few of them are public, some of them they are under NDA. You know NDA? Yeah, so students don't know what NDA is, but you will soon come to understand what it is. It's a non-disclosure agreement, so you are not allowed to disclose some stuffs. But we have done some huge projects and some small projects. Our current product, somebody have heard of something called Aduta? No? Okay, we have to do a better job at marketing. It's a big platform. Actually, to give you a picture, think of a competitor to QuickBooks Online, to Xero, Zoho, and all those stuff. But that's more complex, which can handle manufacturing, it can handle restaurants, it can handle hotels, it can handle restaurants, it can handle hotels, it can handle shops, it can handle virtually every business you know. So that's what we are pushing currently. And soon we will open API for developers to connect their systems. So later your customer will tell you, we want also, to see how much we are expending on this. We want to see profit and loss. We want to see this and that. Writing accounting package is difficult. We have done it. We know it. It will take you years, especially you guys who have a lot of information and you take it for granted. You have all these conferences and you take it for granted. I remember when I started, there was no training school, there was no, Google was at its very infancy, so you could not search a lot of information. I remember the only forum I could find was one, I think one. Later I found other two, but it was one forum called DanWeb in 1 week, and it was all frustrating. I bought a VB6 book, I tried to learn it, and I couldn't, and I banned it. I could learn. And creating simple pictures with the GIMP and all those stuff. And they came handy when I projects, small projects, and you can't share with anybody. So I did them 100%. So do it. And when you grow now, this guy knows better, developing front end. That is everything developer. Then with time, you will specialize. And you will have that space, because the first time I do that, we were receiving a lot of students for industrial training. So these things I'm telling you, and some of them went in the street.
Right, thank you so much. What advice yeah, there you go. Right, so thank you so much for buying us time. So these are the hashtags. Please usikosee. Ukikosea, that means it won't show on our end. Ama haitatokea when we're trying to, run the code and see who's the first person. Oh, sorry. Like I said, engineers wetu mambo marahisi hawataki. Kwa hapo yuko ana compile code afu tuanze tena upya ndo I project. So don't kosea the hashtag. It's Kotlin Conf with a CONF. It's all right. We understand. Code imegoma. Ya kwanza ina dar, ya pili haina dar, and then it's our hashtag. Lakini please tag our people. But I think for Twitter, this is simplify hashtag TZ, isn't it? Yeah. So simplify hashtag TZ. Kwa ambao wamepata t-shirt ambazo sielewi kwa nini mmezikumbatia badala ya kuvaa, but okay. Ukiangalia the simplify logo ni ile S kubwa ya blue. So while you're searching, please confirm the logos. Usitag watu wengine jamani. Please tag the people that are there. So confirm with the t-shirt Apple before you actually search for them. So hii ndio itatusaidia sisi kuangalia nani ambaye yuko ana moto. One last announcement before Yesaya comes in. If you have not registered, the RSVP link is on. You can register there, or you can write your. Oh, you can. If you have not registered Kule RSVP'd, please register here. But the link Kule is still open. We have enabled it, so you can RSVP because we need to. Na sisi tunaandika reports jamani of how the event went, so we need to know who's in. Okay. Kwa nia njema. So please RSVP or register so that we can ease us kwenye kuandika reports and whatnot. I think I'm done. Don't forget to post and share and network. But right now, Yesaya. Yeah. So after Yesaya, I think we'll have a quick photo shoot. Yeah, so that we can document how our event is going. If you know somebody is close by, you're interested in medical stuff.
Yeah.
That's really medical. Are you sure? One of you may put us up. Wait, are you for real?
I didn't even since it's like medical stuff again. I medical stuff.
Okay, so what else? That's it.
Yeah.
What was interesting about him? Anyway, you hear about him. Papa kaenda kwa watu him.
Okay.
You were sitting next to each other. Nice. Someone amekaa kule hapo umekaa. Kule hapo umekaa. I'm smelling something here. All right, so you also get a swag. How many swags do you have? Just a t-shirt. Okay, so you'll get a swag. Awesome. So, time's up. You get your time. Right, so please converse, get to know who's who. Okay? Kuna importance, guys. Unaweza kukuta mwajiri wako yuko humu ndani. Unaweza kukuta sio lazima yule mwajiri per se like a CTO or CFO ama HR, lakini mtu ambaye anafanya kazi in a company lakini anajua kwamba kampuni ina hire, anaweza kurecommend kwa kujichekesha tu. You never know. So is that recorded all this time? So please usikae mwenyewe. So for now I'm going to invite Sam to speak on behalf of Simplify TV. He's going to talk about what his company does. He's our sponsor. His company is the sponsor, but at this point you're the boss. So his company is also sponsoring this event, and we're extremely grateful that whatever you see here is because of their participation, okay? Akitoka Sam kuongea, ataingia Caleb. He's also our sponsor for today's event. Guys, let me tell you. Nani ameshika kwenye kikao cha harusi? Kwenye wengine wote ni naingia tu yani. Nani ambaye ameshika kwa kwenye kamati? Any kamati hata kama ni usafiri whatever, any how many? 1 2 3 4 5 My friend, what's kamati? You don't look like a person who will like enforce kamati nini? Ya chakula. Your body and your kamati. All right. So whenever uko kwenye hiyo kamati, kuna stress ya how things should be in order, right? Like chakula kimefika kwa wakati, sijui nani amekula, nani hajala, gari limekuja. I don't know what kamati huko, lakini kuna kwaga na right? So imagine hauna mtu kukusaidia kwa kufanya hivyo, una struggle mwenyewe. And then imagine kuna kampuni inakuja kukuambia, kwani what do you need? We can assist. So that's a big load off your back. Okay? So imagine that happening. So this is us. Kwa leo kidogo tunatamba because we have 2 sponsors who have been with us throughout. Okay? Kwa ukisikia tunasema kwamba kuna sponsors who are around, just know ile kamati yako kuna mtu ameibeba on your behalf, right? So this is to them, and this is a thank you note to them too. So akitoka Sam kuongea, ataingia Caleb, and then you also have your session. Okay, I think your session is 40 minutes, 45?
Yeah, Caleb.
45 minutes for your session?
Yeah.
I will include intro there too. Okay. And then after that, I will have a very small break, stretch up kidogo, mundani of course, right? And then tutamalizia Stefano with his talk, again 45 minutes, and then I think we'll finish up with everything else. Okay? So angalia uliokaa naye, You never know. I'm looking at you. Yeah? Yeah. Guys, what do you say?
Good afternoon, everyone. Can I speak English? My name is Samuel Iona. I work as a software engineer at SimplyTech. So our job is basically to create innovation in the areas of tax compliance. I say it might not be like an issue because all of you guys are still at university levels, but then on a wakati where you guys will become business owners, you guys you'll be running your own businesses, and then you got to put this on. Okay, so kuna wakati ambapo mtaanza kuwa like business owners and you'll be running your own business. And a criteria for you to actually have a, I would say, registered and a valid business ni kwamba uwe na issue receipts hizi ambazo mnaziona. So what we're trying to do right now is changing that from being physical receipts to actually receipts that you see on your phone. So we have a mobile app. The main point of it ni kwamba wewe unatengeneza receipt straightforward from your phone. You submit it to the TRA. You get the receipt on your phone. Unamtumia mwenzako kwenye WhatsApp, email, straightforward. Ni moja kwa moja. You don't have to have the hassle of it. The reason why it's a very big problem specifically in Tanzania is, again, I'm going to be a bit political, but then it is what it is. Ukija kwenye muda basically kwenda TRA kuja kupata mapato yako kwenye kampuni yako. Nasikia mshakusikia kesi za waba una free TRA na vitu kama hivyo, submitting the right taxes na vitu kama hivyo, is you have to have evidence to prove that you issued this amount of money when pata. Now receipts za karatasi, I think all of you here, unaweza kama umenunua kitu asubuhi mpaka sasa hivi umeshapoteza hiyo receipt. Now kwa TRA, that's the only evidence that you have kwamba this is a valid receipt. Now that creates an issue. Imagine now where your business who is issuing 10 receipts, just minimum, but then kuna wengine actually 100. It's going to be chaotic in maintaining them na vitu kama hivyo. We don't also do that, but also kuna kitu kinaitwa a Z report. So Z report ni mauzo yako ya siku ambayo lazima usubmit kwa TRA, ambayo lazima upeke kwa TRA physically. But then with our platform, you might be sleeping, it will go automatically there. Now utaikuta kule and TRA will be like, okay, hichi kitu. So what we're trying to do right now is just provide something known as financial transparency, not only kwa wewe, basically a business owner or an individual, but then also to the government. Kwamba waweze kuona, okay, so this is the sales ambazo unazo and this is the government, so that you don't have an issue. So again, kitu ambacho ningetaka nishangie kidogo, so maybe I might be a bit different. What about here is the fact kwamba it depends na, I would say, your goals in life. Cha kwanza, how responsiveness or your responsibilities na vitu kama hivyo, how umealign and your discipline, even if vitu vitatu. Why nakwambia hivyo? In areas of tech inabadilika kila muda. You have to have what is known as an agile mindset. Ya kwamba you have to know whatever you're going to do right now is going to change within the next minute, within the next hour, within the next day, week, month. That's how it is. So you have to have that agile mindset here in tech. That is one. Cha pili, you have to have dedication. Mimi naweza nikakupa kwa mfano. When I was in my second year, I used to do a lot. Like I used to do not only courses, and I'm not the best student, trust me. I'm not the best student. And some talk kusema kwamba na A nyingi, hapana. But then but then that's a side note. So I'm not the best student. But then I would say that I pulled that up on the other side ya kwamba I used to work on projects in university level, and that's the best way unaweza kujifunza kitu. And in any project, hata kama haulipwi hela, kikubwa ni kwamba as long as umeamua kwamba unaifanya, you have to do it to the highest quality and the highest proficiency. Sawa, hutakiona faida yake sasa hivi, but then trust me, in the long run you will see it. Mona, like one of the things about nilifanikiwa kupata, I remember I mentioned to the exchange program. So like I was able to get like a sponsorship by the university kwenda kusoma chuo moja kiko student KTH, of which you learn a lot, unakutana na different people with different ambao wanakupa different knowledge, unakuwa una improve your mindset na vitu kama hivyo. Umeona? Even coming to SimplyTech, it was more of me showing what I can do rather than me sitting in an interview explaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that all comes from one having discipline, that agile mindset ya kwamba kitu kitabadilika, and having dedication at the same time. Mona. Let me ask a question labda. Wangapi ni first years? Second years? First year, second year. Third years. Okay, sawa. Mimi nimeanza with that mindset nilikuwa second year mwishoni. Umenipata? That mindset imekuja second year mwishoni naingia. But then the things that I've been able to do with that small time is actually bigger because I chose to change within that time frame. So what I'm advising you to, again, ni kwamba, you have to have that mindset. Again, it's a mindset issue that you have to put inside your head, and you have to have that discipline, you have to have that responsiveness. Another advice in software engineering ni kwamba, maybe I might be disagreeing with Anderson because Anderson knows a lot of languages to come hivyo. We have a notion where you become, ukianza kwa not experience per se, ilo ukianza kuvijua vitu, unakuja kugundua kwamba whatever you're building on specific languages, and I think this is an issue that most people ambao wanaweza kwenye tech space wanakuwa nayo. What language should I use? And wanasema kila lugha ina uzuri wake na ubaya wake. But then the best thing that you can do is, the moment you select your language, stick to it. Umenipata? Why I'm saying this is for novice people, they tend to want to learn a lot. Umenipata? You want to learn PHP. At the same time, you want to learn HTML. At the same time, you want to learn JavaScript. At the same time, you want to learn CSS. It's going to be chaotic. Mona. Yani kwamba kuvijua vyote. Specifically kwa sasa hivi, yani kwamba wewe usome, uanze kujiza lugha, it's chaotic. So that's an issue about you have to put inside your head and pattern. And plus, and just as a bit of a side note, I know we are in a code community na vitu kama hivyo, but then IT space is bigger than just code. And pattern. There are people ambao I know who are getting paid a lot of money just for being UI UX designers. And pattern. Because I don't know kuna pressure kwamba the moment you're in IT you have to be a coder. That is not necessarily the point. I might be going.
Yeah, as you probably have heard, our sponsor is saying you don't have to stick to just programming. You can branch out. You can go to graphic designs. You can go to DevOps. You can go to scripting, reverse engineering, whatever. You can also go to AI. And speaking of AI, one of our sponsors today is here. Comes from a company called Neurotech. They are leveraging AI to bring solutions in building chatbots and automating solutions around that modality of something that you can text with and get back some sort of response, and that in turn would dispatch some sort of effects and handle something like payments, thank you notes, welcome notes, etc. And without speaking much about it, I welcome Mr. Caleb, who is the CEO of Neurotech, to give us a little bit of rundown of what Neurotech is and their product, what it's doing about, and overall to address everyone who attended this conference. Caleb, welcome. You have a question for me, sir? Yes. It's time for the talk, yes. But also, let people know you. I know some of you know you, but we also have a lot of new faces and newcomers. So they probably haven't heard you. Yeah, so. Okay, while Caleb is coming up front and setting up his environment here, I'd like to add just one thing that Brother Sam said. So it's all about doing something. I made a mistake when I was actually learning early. There was at a point in life I thought the tool that you've mastered that you can use at least even to showcase your skill set and whatnot, it's a very good stepping stone towards the next phase of your life. And it becomes very easy because you are an you've become an expert at that one thing. So are you ready? No. So yeah, probably should sit there. Why a projector? Okay, no worries. I'm just telling you where the projector is. So that's the thing, kwamba as long as you have just one thing that you can use maybe to create a whole project. So let me pick an example. For example, we've been picking on JavaScript, but it's a very easy language to pick up while learning. So you can just start with the JavaScript, build some sort of a web interface, how would you save data, and then get the ergonomics of that, understand. Be a master at JavaScript. So anytime you have something to showcase for, when someone asks you, especially learn the things that you know, which also lets you learn the things that you know you don't know, and also you'll know the things that you don't know that you don't know. So all of that is very important and crucial. So I think we just have to power on the projector and we'll be set. All right. I should also address you. Oh, okay, Mr. Sponsor, sir. No, Mr. Sponsor.
I want to see my guitar, bro. You said let's not come on, bro.
It was not like that early. It used to be full green.
Yeah, I know, but I'm coming back.
So these guys, they're telling me, Caleb. So first of all, guys, yeah, my name is Caleb. I'm a software dev. I don't like my introduction as a founder because I'm a developer still. And it's just if the company is too small, people calling you CEO is kind of yeah, it's like kind of sucks. So I think call me Caleb. You want to share the window?
Go back to your screen.
You share the window?
The one you explained, the GitHub one.
Because I don't want to switch a lot, so you could share the window.
Yeah. No, share the whole screen with you as a point.
No, the window. Bro.
The window?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
share the whole screen. You can see. Okay, good.
Yeah, so hey, it's a very good discussion. Too many languages. So many languages here, but guys, I mean coding Python. And I started with C, and then I went to C++. I tried a bit of, very bit of Golang and Rust, JavaScript, but very little. I can't do anything with them. But I mean, I don't know, but you can know so many languages. But for me, my entire career has been Python, and still I feel like I've only utilized an inch of it. There's so much to learn, so much to do. So I mean, you can pick something and then you can stick to it until you're the best at it, and you're the best and the best of it. Yeah. So it kind of works. So my talk, right? My talk is gonna be about Sarufi. But before my talk, these guys are telling me, Caleb, like a founder, you don't want to code. So I said, okay, let's go to GitHub, guys. Can you see March? Can you see April? I commit sometimes on Sunday, bro. No, and it's all. Okay, I'm gonna go back last year. Yeah. No, last year. This is last year, and then this is. But there's quality, I don't have to. I don't have to commit.
Okay, for those people who don't know, because I'm not saying some don't understand, this is GitHub, and the more code you write, you commit, the more green that profile becomes. So we've just been bashing Caleb that he's been coding less nowadays. His profile used to be so green, but nowadays it's kind of
Black. You said black.
it's almost pale white.
He's been coding less nowadays. His profile used to be so big, but nowadays it's kind of
But you see, man, it's kind of. But you see, that is quality. I'm just wrapping up. You see, 2022, there was less pull requests. It was just commit. Just commit means like a single person. But you can see right now, I'm like, okay, a lot of. Yeah, no, it still is one way. It's going the other way, but you can see the difference. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So guys, I'm Caleb from Sarufi. So this is a product that we made. So remember, I used to do pages on Afunzi. I saw a poster today there. Some guys do pages on Afunzi. I used to do that a lot. And sometimes I make a chatbot. I train machine learning. But right now, I'm happy we made a platform about it, kind of like, okay, make it easy for anyone to do it. We say African languages, but we're still going slow. So ideally you can make it in any languages, but slowly trying to make it a platform, but it's a go-to platform for African languages. But now, it's still not there yet, but you can do something useful with it. Just brief on what we do. You can, if you're building you support LLMs, so you can kind of upload your documents here, and you don't need to do anything else. Just upload your document. You can do some sort of prompting, which is kind of like telling an LLM to act as a certain thing, and then it can use your knowledge base and the prompting, and then you can choose the model if you want. You can choose a model from OpenAI, from Minstrel, from what else? Anthropic, Llama. But also, this is very powerful. We also support custom workflow, which is everything around this is custom built. So if you use intent model, every time you update the bot, we're going to train a model for you. We're going to like host it somewhere, and then when someone challenges with the bot, we're going to like load the model, predict, do the stuff. So it's kind of like okay. We're taking away of people building bots, simplified it in a way that is completely easy to use. And the thing is, we also support deployment. So even if you make a bot, you don't have to create your custom webhook handler for WhatsApp. We automatically host your app as a serverless on AWS. So we support some sort of serverless as a service. With this deployment, is like you see there's like, I don't know, 5. But there's actually 7 because AT, we support SMS. So you can deploy an SMS bot today, like an SMS with shortcode. Today you can support. You can create an IVR. If someone asks you, Caleb, what's your name? Create an IVR. If someone asks you, Caleb, Lugendo, Luge. Okay, if say Luge, can you create me an IVR number I can call and I can put an appointment and completely self-service. Nobody on the other side picking up the call. You can do using Sarufi and then you can plug AT to do the IVR thing. You can put those maps of audio. So today you can replicate the menu 100 with your using Sarufi. So that's basically a brief of what we do. And we kind of support a lot of developers integration, so people can support something called web, like middleware. So if you have, let's say, your third-party application, like say the backend for your web, and then you want to plug it to a chatbot, you can support using middleware. So in other way, you can think of it the same way you think of the front end of like mobile front end, the same way you think of what front end is, web front end, desktop front end, the same way you can think of chatbot front end, because it's just like a way to present your services, but now this time it's going to be conversational. But everything that ideally you could do as a service provision on an app, you can do using a chatbot and deploy across platform. So that's very brief. So I think I've now, I don't know, 30 minutes. I need to show you guys how to use it simply. So let me just, so to go, you can go to beta.software.io, but I think you also made the live one is, the live one I think is now V2. Whoa, all this task. All this task. So ideally, so let's just go with this. So I'll just go here, get started. So I'll just go here, get started. And then, good internet. And then, I'll just log in with credentials. I mean, you can, let me just, I don't know, this one or the other one. Let me just use my email. Guys, don't screenshot this. I mean, they're not mine, you know, it's someone else. I mean, they're not mine, someone else. And you can't believe the serious one is Isaac Heston. And I used to, like, people used to say, I used to work sometimes back, remotely work. People used to call me Isaac, and then I'm like, no, I'm Caleb. It's just a username on an email. Isaac. They're like, I'm sorry. No, I'm Caleb. It's just a username on an email. So now, is it? I'm sorry. Chora is my middle name. Bro, is it internet? Is it platform? Bro, is it internet platform? Yeah, I don't know how I can talk.
Which network did you connect to?
Kotlin Conf. Kotlin Conf. You loading good? I don't know, man. You loading good? I don't know. You give me your hotspot. It's about 2, okay. It's called
Smart brick, yeah, here we go. Smart brick, yeah, here we go. ABC, yeah, okay. Require password, do you know? Just gonna, guys, just a minute. I think. No, I didn't connect. So, but let me see the platform again. Let me see it didn't log in. Let me just try to use this. Yeah, it's now using Kotlin Conf.
Ah, okay. I see.
How am I connected? Kotlin Conf, this is the one? Yeah. Oh, Kotlin Conf, this is the one? Try mine, man. Yeah, let me try see this if it works. This is I put it to mine now. Okay. Comment tomorrow. Okay. Even internet speed test can't run, man. Yeah, it's a shit network. Yeah, I think it's loading now, yeah? Yeah, okay. Yeah, guys, I think we continue. So ideally, if you come to your dashboard here, it's like a sample of the dashboard. You can have, so these are all my bots. Even internet speed test can run. We support 2 bots, as I said before. We have what we call intent bots. So you can see by this icon, and the other one is called knowledge base using by this icon. So the difference between knowledge base and intent is that in the knowledge base, all you need to do is just upload knowledge base here. You can upload like some sort of okay. You can upload PDF here. You can upload whatever, and then what you can do is you can come here, pick a model you want, from GPT-4 to GPT-4 to Turbo, Mistral, if you want Llama 3, Commander, and then you can put a prompt here if you want. Yeah, so you can say, okay, how should it behave? So these are all my bots. You can come here and then now upload the document you want. So you want to upload, like, is it an Excel, is it a link, is it a record? So you can see by this icon. So you can try even a record. And then with an LLM, we support tools. So if you come to tools here, let's say you want an LLM to use tools to answer questions. Let's say you want it to access to for the informations. You can come here and just choose the tool you want. Google Plus API. Yeah, just make sure your API are working.
Come here.
And then
pick a model you want.
if you come back, this kind of other bot, the difference is that this is more of like you need to train it manually. So in this one, you need to put like training data to it. So you need to like put training data on different category. Yeah, so I'll just walk you through briefly, fast.
Can come here.
Like say, for instance, in this instance, it's like where you give a training data to an AI to categorize context. So this is the context about courses on environmental science. So if people say some sort of those words, it might pick it up. So it's not doing string matching. It's training a classification model, which is going now. If try to predict that text belongs to which class among the showing up, and then when it predict like a class, let's say, it's going to trigger its state. A state is like how you respond to that state, to that intent. You can say, okay, maybe show this text and then show this image plus these two buttons, maybe apply or back, and then these two buttons, like say, like back and apply, they can have like states. And then you can link them to something else. Like, okay, I think apply. You can link them. You know, I'm a dev. You can drag and drop to arrange menus. There's multiple components to support, from text component, menu component, depending on what you want to build. So recently we deployed something for Azam Marine. They're now using it for booking, so they're using a lot of menus and also buttons, but also middleware, which I talked about. If you want to fetch data from external applications. Yeah, so let me just come here. Let's create a very simple like knowledge-based bot. So let me create a bot. Let's say knowledge-based bot. Let's call it Kotlin Conf. So just give it a name and then let's say pick an industry. Let's say whatever. General, create a bot. So when you create a bot, just going to create a bot now. It's going to lead you to this. Yeah, pardon my internet. Okay, this is our canvas now. So from this canvas, we can, let's say we can try the coding, right? So I can come here on upload. And I can come on record. And let's try something weird, right? Who's gonna be our speaker now? My brother here. Something weird, right? Gonna give a knowledge base that we're gonna be a knowledge base to a bot. Let's say, okay, now, yeah, give a knowledge. Go on. Let's say, yeah.
Okay, welcome to Kotlin Conf. This is the Sarufi talk where we're getting a little bit of information on how Sarufi leverages AI and chatbots together. So hopefully that is enough, or do you need me to keep ramping and ranting? Welcome to Kotlin Conf.
Okay, that's enough. So guys, my name is Caleb, and I'm giving a talk on how to build chatbot to Sarufi, and I'm hoping you'll be able to pick it up. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope Sarufi doesn't embarrass me, but here's a knowledge base. Right? We made it right here. Okay. I'm gonna submit it, and then I'm gonna save.
That is enough.
So you can add multiple knowledge bases. Let's say this now is a record, but I can add it as
I'm hoping you'll be able to pick it up. Yeah.
I can add it as a link. I can add it as a document, but you can just try with this. Hopefully it works. So assume you will be like you're doing something for a client and they're too lazy to send you a document. You can just sit on a mic, talk to a bit, and then yeah.
We can add the knowledge bases. Let's say this is now the record.
So what's going to do, we're using Whisper. It's going to take an audio, it's going to transcribe it into text, and then it's going to text and feed it to an AI as a knowledge base. So next time when AI want to answer you, it will know this as one of the knowledge base. And the right here you can come. Yeah, you can come and say, put a prompt here, but let's try to ask. Let's say, who is Caleb? This is a very ambitious question.
This is a very ambitious question.
Because I'm not sure if he's got my spelling correct. I'm not sure if he. Woo! Guys, look! Woo! Guys, look!
Yeah.
And then, but it messed up, you know, say I am Kelem, you know. But it says it's the name of the chatbot. Oh, I'm a chatbot now. The smart bot designed to provide information and integration. Okay.
The bots know they're good.
Yeah, what's I'm a chatbot now. What's happening? Yeah, let's see if it pick up the conference, right? I think you talk about chatbots. Saluki. So you see, I think our pronunciation is correct, but it's like okay.
What's happening?
Yeah. Anything Kotlin. Eh? So this is like very bad data because it had to transcribe it and then. No. It's just speeding up definitions. But ideally. I wanted to reply from the knowledge base.
So this is the very bad data because
I'm being ambitious in my questions. I see.
It's just speeding up.
Okay. It's just losing the context. But ideally, as you can see, it was able to. I know. It's a very poor data. So assume if you have good data, it can learn. And another thing is can use tools. So tool is like okay. I think you can try asking who is the president. Yeah, I don't want it to. Who's the I want something which is like it's out of date by the current and then if you,
I know, it's very
No, it's wrong. It's bash, right? Yeah, so it's using the context like so there is something called in LLMs there's something called parametric knowledge. So parametric knowledge is a knowledge that when they train a model, it's like they're training a compression algorithm. But it's I don't know, lossless. So you take like a knowledge of this room, you compress it to the size of this router, and then it doesn't show as it is, but it can generate anything from this room. So this knowledge base is some parameter in that small model. So when you ask the right words, it can expand. It's like pop up out of like parametric. So let's try if we can manage to. So let's say if I come to use tools now.
No, it's wrong. It's battery, right?
So by default, let's say we have a knowledge-based bot, knowledge-based tool. So you can put more description. Assume like you're creating some, you are giving an AI is, unampa mtu aende on a forest, and you're saying, okay, chukua hii parachichi, it will help you
of this room.
When you're hungry, take this knife for protection, something like that. So you're giving these tools so that AI know when to use them. But you need to tell it description. So if you look at these tools, there's something we say description. So this description is very important because LLM is just, you don't know when to use it if you don't tell it correctly. Like, okay, you tell it, use this when you're trying to use current event. Yeah, so let's try. We've added DuckDuckGo, and let's say, let's ask who is the minister of Tanzania now. Let's do internal memory. Let me use
protection. Something like that. So giving these things so that AI know what to use them. But you need patience.
Okay. Who is the minister of Tanzania?
So something you say description. This description is very important because LLM is just
okay, that's the mess. That's really a mess.
Yeah, so let's try. Added DuckDuckGo.
But yeah, my vague question, I want to say Minister
of Tanzania.
Yeah. Culture. So it might be that there's a problem with like the Go tool. So it went to search and then there was something. You see, I think this is a question. You see what in the error? I think there's a problem on the other side with the tool because it seems the above questions used just the normal route, and then it's trying to use a knife. Something came up, you know. It doesn't have a handle, so it's cut itself.
Doesn't have a handle.
DuckDuckGo, okay, let's see what else. Like Wikipedia, mate. But we don't know if it's search from Wikipedia, you know.
Let's try something like Wikipedia as well.
DuckDuckGo, okay, let's see.
Okay, I think Wikipedia might do okay.
Wikipedia, mate. But we don't know.
So let's say Brave search might need the key.
Okay, I think Wikipedia
key. Yeah, I might need a PA key.
Okay.
Google search I need a key. Wikipedia.
So let's say.
Okay.
Brave search might
YouTube.
need the key.
But Wikipedia, because the same knowledge base it's used. So maybe let's try this YouTube. In YouTube, so I'm gonna ask what come. Okay. Give me some cool music video links from YouTube.
But how can you tell Wikipedia? How can you
by 21 pilots.
Very hard.
Yeah, I think there might be some problem with the tooling. Yeah,
so
sorry guys, I think you can try that.
YouTube,
but I'm going to look more about why these tools aren't working.
Give me.
But ideally, let's say I upload multiple knowledge base here. What next is, okay, 12 minutes. What next is now we can deploy this bot. So you can deploy, as I said, on a web. Here on WhatsApp, we can deploy it on Telegram, anything else. The rest are kind of, like on web is very easy, because on web all you need to do is just customize it, copy snippet, like you're deploying Google Analytics, you just copy it and paste on a page. We have also some video on YouTube.
I think
so because of time, I think I can show you some link.
But
yeah, a lot of Magnus Carlsen.
Look more about why it's not working.
Yeah. So you can see, you can go to Neurotech Africa. We have this cool like video explainer. On your own time, we explain. Okay, this is how you can deploy for Telegram, WhatsApp, more video coming. But there's like a lot of couple of videos here on how to use a platform.
12 minutes.
But the other one I think it could be interesting. I think is
what next is now
like for Kotlin Conference. So we can make a bot. Let's say let's make a bot called.
The rest are kind of like on web is very easy.
Registration.
Because on web only.
Bot. Can I make so we have default intent here. So let's say we have greetings here. It's a default intent and the default state. So we could say, okay, maybe when someone comes for the first time, they can see something like they can see hello, something like welcome, hello to Kotlin Conf. Can I have your name, please? So it can do this. You can also remove this media. There's like a default media here. You can upload something else, or you don't need to deploy anything. So you can just say, hey, welcome to Kotlin Conf. And then after this, you can connect it to another state. So let's say you connect it to another state. You can choose another state. And then if you don't have it, you can choose from here. If it's not here, you can create a new one. And you can say email, right?
Create a new one, and you can say
email, right? How about your email? How about your email? And then what else? You can save. So as you do, you can see on the side by building a tree. Okay, you see from greeting to now there's a tree inside of it. You can have something that in the middle here. You can add an intermediate state if you want to. But now let's go to email again. So you can say, okay, what else can you want?
So you can say, okay, what else can you?
Goodbye, right?
See you at Kotlin Conf. See you at Kotlin Conf.
Okay, maybe you'll say you are just to confirm.
Yeah. See you at Kotlin.
Say confirm, right? Okay, maybe you'll say you are just confirm. Your name is.
Okay.
So you can choose from here. So this is beloaded from all the states. So ideally, on Sarufi there is some memory on this state. That if you this is a current state. If you enter data, it's going to be stored in the next state. Yeah. So right now, if we store the name on greeting is going to be stored in email, and then your phone number, and then is it's going to be stored now on where? Confirm, right? It's going to be stored now on confirm. I mean,
next state. It's confirmed,
right? Which does not exist yet because we're creating it here.
Next state.
So that's why you can load. Yeah,
it does not exist yet because we're creating it here.
So what you can do here is you can give people. So what you can do here is like a button, something, okay? Like a button, and then they can say maybe yes, please. And then you can have something like another button. You can have something like another button. Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
That's not for now.
Not right. Maybe on a change. Change. Maybe change. Save. Save, and then save. When you reach here now, and then you can connect. When you reach here now, you can connect this. You can connect the entire. So I want to show you a bit of more stuff. You can go this to a choice. So choice is like think of way as a branching block, because we even support personal expression. I think it's very complicated feature, but we support personal expression on choice. So we're learning like a sandbox for Python. So let's say I'm connecting it not to a state. I'm connecting it to a choice. I can create a new one here. So this choice is branched on. So now we have our states here from the above. And then we can choose where they're connected. So I can say maybe if they say yes, please, put them to. If they say yes, to where? If they say yes, please, where? Put them to. Bye. It's never. Thank you. Say yes, please. Put them to. Yeah, you can have some short, simple API. Your ticket is. You're gonna put a ticket here. Simple API. And then like here, we're gonna put a ticket here. And then like here we're gonna put a ticket. See you at the conference. See you at the conference. So something like this. And then if they say I wanna change, you can put them into. You can put them to, let's say, greeting again, maybe email. It's more like, let's say email. You can now test your bot from the above. So we now have a tree on the sidebar here. You see it's a tree. So something like this. As you can see, the email is recursive because it's routing back to the other state. So if I come here and I'm like, okay, let's say hi. Okay, welcome to Kotlin Conf. Can I have your name? Jordani. And then can I say, okay, how your email? Yeah, Caleb. So you see, it didn't do Caleb validation of the email. Right here is like, and then it didn't pick up the choice confirm. So what we can do, first of all, on email, you can add validations before we fix another concern. But you can completely, let's say, if you say yes, please, it's going to say your ticket is something. So one of our problems we have, we enter just a name on the email and it's just accepted. So what you can do is you can come to the email component. First of all, say, okay, how your email? How about your email? Yeah. And then what you can do is just you can choose response validations. So we support multiple of them here. We also support if you want to put your own custom regex. So custom regex, you can put your own how to manage the data. If you have a pattern of people to enter data. So if you look at the other marine bot, when people entering like passenger details, we just put like a pattern of people to enter data. So we're using a custom regex to do that. But for now, because it's an email straightforward, I can just choose about your email. And then what you can do is just you can choose email validations. And then if they don't enter the right email, say, can I please make sure your email is correct. If you have a pattern of people to enter data, so if you look at the other and then you can just done. So next time we're going there, it's going to know what we're talking about. I can just, let me say, refresh this. Email validations. And then if they don't enter the right email, so you can please make sure the email correct, and then you can just done. How many minutes are you? 4, 2. Okay. Okay. Guys, we have 2 minutes. So if I go to confirm now, I think we have just confirm the phone is okay. I think for this one inabidi kai kwenye confirm. Okay, let me see. I might be wrong with my platform. Okay, so let's say hi. Can I have a name, please? Jordan Caleb, and then it's like about your email. You're gonna tell me present making is correct, and then I'm gonna say Kalebu neurotech.africa. Yeah, so it's telling me now, okay, Kalebu, just confirm this in your phone. Your email is this. If I say maybe yes, please, you can make it trigger an SMS or trigger an email. You see, you can make it trigger an email. How can do it? It's pretty simple. So if I say I want to make it trigger an email to send me my confirmation, all I need to do, I'll come here. I'll choose email triggering. I'll choose a state to trigger. So I have greetings here. And then on the subject, I can say maybe your ticket confirmation. And then your ticket is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, blah, blah. And then on email now, I can put a custom email, or I can choose a state. So if I come here, I'm going to choose a state. And the email will be stored, basically, we said in choice, in confirm, right? In confirm. And then I'm going to activate the tool. I'm going to save. So now this time, if I come here, and then I say, OK, hi. It asking, can I have a name? I'm like, Jordan Caleb. And I'm saying, OK, my email is kalebu@sarufi.io. So if I say yes, please. But right now, it's supposed to send me an email about my ticket confirmation here. So I'm just going to unplug this to see my email. Just a minute. I said kalebu@sarufi.io, okay? So just a minute, I think network bad, yeah? But I think I'm running out of time now.
I just managed it.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm using Voda, man. My phone is 2%. But now I think because of time, I won't be able to show you guys. But what I wanted to show you here is, I'm able to show you something, but the dev side of it, because now it's like mainly code platform, clicking. But most of the dev side of it lies basically here. You're not seeing it. Too bad. First of all, let me see what's the email, and then I can plug it because this email is not bad in it. It's just a new email.
Email is not okay.
Email is so the email is loading. I just want to check. But you can trigger SMS email if you want. You can trigger anything else like payment here. Plus, you can make it as complex as possible. Because what you have to know is like we have building blocks, but whatever you're going to build with it is just depend on you. You're like, okay, how can you plug in it? You can make it as an interface. You can use menus, complex menus. Let's see here. Yeah, you see here your ticket confirmation is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's already sent me an email, and you can't believe I can make this bot right now live on Telegram in just one click. And already I've like, it does automatically send confirmation, even if you want to pull an admin.
Send it to Telegram.
Okay, put it to Telegram, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now I'll just go here, quick. We're gonna go put it to Telegram. So let's go to talk to bot further. So we're gonna do bot further. So bot further has tokens. You see, this bot are not live, guys, so you can't use it. So I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna make a new bot slash new bot. I'm gonna make it Kotlin Conf TZ. Okay, I'm gonna say Kotlin Conf TZ bot. So this is just details about the bot, just telling me, okay.
It must end in bot.
Yeah, it's a bot.
Call it Kotbot. Anyway, so.
Kotbot must, oh.
The username must end in bot.
But bot is in there. You see, don't see bot. Okay, let's say Kotlin Kotbot.
Yeah.
Kotbot is taken. So Kot TZ bot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already have a bot now. So we're just gonna copy this token. Come here, paste it here. And then I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save it here, and then I'm gonna deploy. So the way we're handling deploy is we're using a serverless function. AWS, and you basically don't even pay. We're hosting for free. So whenever you're deploying something here, we're gonna deploy it for you as a serverless. They usually like some sort of cold start. So it should be live now. I can just come to Telegram.
Okay. Also, anyone, if you have Telegram on your phone, try accessing.
So it's called
Kot TZ bot or something like that.
Yeah.
Or is it Kotlin Conf TZ?
Yeah, you know what to do, right? So you see here, if I can zoom, I don't know. Telegram you can zoom. Too bad. But you say what you know what to do. I'm like, hi. I know what to do. I mean, can I have your name? I'm gonna say Jodizo. How about your email? And I'm like, okay, kalebu@neurotech.africa. And I'm like, okay, I want to change now. I'm going to click on I want to change. It's going to ask me my email again. It's because I just routed the path of the yeah, I'm going to say kalebu@neurotech.africa. Yeah, so this, yeah, I'm going to say yes, please. So because of time, I can't do much, but I wanted to show a bit of the dev side. Okay, how can now you start plugging backend API to your front end? Yeah, you just imagine the bot interface as mainly as a front end, and the bot is just acting as a presentation layer for your application. So we just provide the whole infrastructure of now handling of plugging in your backend apps. It can automatically go fetch it from there and put data into your conversations. Like, okay, you can show a ticket here and link it to your DB and everything else. So guys, because of time, I think this is going to be my end of the talk of the day. Just something to add, it's pay on what you use. If you see here, I have my credit here. So your workspace, you can see the usage of your workspace, like, okay, how you're using. And the good thing is that we provide the granular level usage. You can see your bot, you can see the members, you can add members if you want to add members, but also you can, the good side of usage, you can see the granular level of usage. So you can see every message and the building of it, you see? So I can know here today, this conversation was built this amount. So I can see the granular level of my usage of the bot. Yeah, and then the overall, you can just come here. If you want to buy credit, you can come here and just put some credit you want, even if you want to just buy 1,000 credit. I'm going to make payment, let's say this. It's going to send you a push, just buy 1,000 credit for, I don't know, if Moja, which is like, okay, cheap. Yeah, and then, yeah, I mean, the push didn't work. But the thing is, if you come here to the invoice history, you're going to see, yeah, like, okay, all the invoices, billing is just features. You can also get your API key here. So you can just get your API key here and then go and plug into your applications. We have a docs here. You can just go and export your own time. is still not very up to date, but I think most of the stuff should be covered here. Like, okay, how do I put email integrations? How do I do ASM integrations? If you want to learn more about deployment. So yeah, we have like some sort of like explanation on how to do stuff, but I think soon enough we'll be able to add more content in terms of SDK support and also a platform support. Thank you so much, guys. I don't know if 1 minute questions? 2, 1? Okay. Kama mtu ana swali 1 minute, 2 minutes, you can ask me. Yes?
I have one just connected to what we are doing. So somebody have said that back in, like that friend shows us Yesaya, and then he wants to connect to Salaam.
Yeah.
So where does it? Right now it was going to the bot, Telegram.
Yeah.
Now let's say I want to do payment, let's say in my site.
Yeah.
So where's the connection?
Okay. So ideally, I'm just gonna go roughly, briefly. Can I get anything else? It's your real one, guys. You just dummy Asam. You cannot develop. I don't think it's a real one. Is this? Let me see. I'm thinking it's dummy one. But let me see. Bottom boy in the kind of middleware hapa. So I can show you a real example. Maybe another, but the point is we support something called middleware. I can show you from the docs here. And then you put variables here. So if you put variables here, let's say a variable, let's say fetch order details, and the path to fetch this from an API level. So you can put a path here, let's say order. Let's say whatever, I put a base detail. This is just dummy data. HTTPS. Data, yeah. This is just dummy data I'm trying to put here. But what I did, I don't know what's wrong here. But ideally, now when you put this, like let's say this is the name of the variable and this is the place to fetch, automatically you're gonna go fetch. From the docs we've explained on how it's gonna work. So if you go to the docs and you go to Sarufi middleware, how it works, is that your API need to turn the data in a certain format that we, like Sarufi expect. So let's say this is your, I can zoom here, I hope. Let's say this is the XML API, and this is the chatbot. So what you need to do is, if you give a path to like an endpoint, you need to turn it in a certain format. If you're trying to turn a text data, like a response, so Sarufi, when it requesting the data, to give you all the memory data that it collected. Let's say I collected all the name already, this already, and then now you can use that to your logic, and then you should return the response in this format. The text and the value, and this value will be put somewhere on your component where you use the variable at. You say you should use at, the variable name, and then automatically it will know that this is I'm supposed to fetch this during runtime. So it's not triggering that part until during runtime. That's going to feature. So even you see the Asam bot is full of middleware because everything they have their own vendor from UK or whatever. So we need to plug everything. The data need to be real time. So it's supposed to go fetch the API. Middleware need to now connect now Sarufi, like the front end and the external backend. So you can have one backend which is the middleware, or you can have two backends. So if you're going to a client which already have an existing API, you need to have a middleware which is like a connector between Sarufi and that API, so that you can put data in this format. If you're trying to turn media, you can use this format. You can use medias. You can include images here, and then automatically, even if you are, it can automatically fetch PDF. Like if you try, like let's say for again for Asam, to get a ticket confirmation, we send you a PDF, right? It's actually a middleware working. It's gonna go generate a PDF and then automatically fetch it. Because you don't put in a flow, because the PDF need to be custom to you, it need to be your own data. Use this. Yeah, so this is from ODUI, you can put this data. Like, okay, let's say this is my API URL, this is my variable names, and this is where to fetch the API. And then automatically, when it reaches this point, it's gonna go here, fetch, and then update you see my order name, it's gonna update you to the variable fetched from, that's how mainly you connect. Plus, if you just want to send data, like say registration, you don't want to get a response back, you can use webhook. So you can, sorry I'm giving a long answer, but you can use this custom webhook, where you can put like some sort of a query token if there's any verification to your API, and then also URL, and then automatically you choose at what flow should it send you webhook data. So you can choose, and then automatically at the end of that tree, so we trigger those most. For middleware, you can trigger at any point, but if you have a tree level, we trigger at the very end of the tree, like when someone completes an action, and then we send you the data. Yeah.
So that one, the last webhook is just a one-way.
One way, but for most part, middleware is good because it can do two-way. So the main value of the middleware is send data to external API, but also get a response to help trigger further actions. Yeah. You can also do completely component mutations. So it can be a text component here, but the middleware can return a menu component. So it's very good if you're trying to handle fallback, and if you want people, let's say if something's not available, to trigger something different completely on a UI level. Let's say I'm trying to fetch booking data, available route, and there's no route available, right? I'm supposed to trigger some action for someone to take, let's say maybe choose a date. It shouldn't be meant to choose a list. So we support normal component like response. We support the component mutation. So if you have a middleware which return a component, is going to mutate the component to be a new component from the middleware. If you have two mutation components, now it's going to choose the first one. Yeah. Yeah.
Kotlin is Sarufi SDK, when?
I think like most of the SDK we got from open source, guys like you. So I'm hoping you're gonna have one, because the API is very much open, and you can just use it. Yeah. So basically, from my brother here and my brother there, very much welcome. Yes.
Two questions. Number one, you support only English or?
So if you saw for model like nini le GPT-4, you supported on Sarufi. It's very good at Swahili. I don't know you might say it. It's proprietary, but it's actually slick. You can talk even. There's someone amedeploy bot juzi inaongea ile English Kiswahili cha mtaani. Yaani ile oya sio oya ile yenyewe ya ndani kabisa ile. Inaongea in very like kama unaweza kama unaongea na mshikaji kabisa hivi. And they're doing something for young people. They're using Sarufi. For this intent-based, we can train it basically on any language, because what it does now is just figure out the pattern in the words. It's just it won't be very performant in all the languages, because you need to do pre-processing. Because pre-processing layer, depending on what language you use. But from command ticket, you need to generate the image. Yeah. From the backend, there's changes. So you need to use now what we call middleware. So when they say what's available, you can create just a random. Some people use text-based animations. When I instruct you text you kama seats. But what you can do is return the response to Nini, to use as a middleware, and then it's like this. You can send them okay, available seats. So you can give them option where to put. You can put menus. You can put menus up to 10 menus. So instead of button you can put up to 3. But if you have menus, you can choose up to 8 drop down. So if something, you can choose up to 8 drop down, and then you can. So you can put it multimedia. You can attach. Kwenye media app, you can attach almost everything. So kama ni Excel sheet, kama ni PDF, kama ni nini. Kuna one of the people that are using this kwenye Ministry of Health kufanya information on demand. They have so many documents, like 100. So kama ukiwa 100 documents, you just put them on different location and tree, so people can easily traverse them using a chatbot, yeah, and then get when they want. So you can just do media-rich component, yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping will solve my question. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Caleb. That was a very comprehensive what Sarufi is and is about the neurotech idea.
Yeah.
So
pleasure, man.
While we're here, jamani, kwa wale ambao wako interested na picha tulizopiga, picha za event, there is a QR code for that. You can scan using picha yako na nini, wakati tunatoa simu mifukoni na nini, naomba tusimame kidogo, tumekaa sana, tumechoka. Piga kinao la Mungu pale.
So let's stretch a bit, right? Nyanyua mikono juu wote hivi. Twende. Okay, sasa naona watu wamekata, so naomba tukae upande hivi at least everyone. Yes, okay, let's put our arms out wide like that. Alright? And then clap you once. Okay, twice. So, okay, the other side. Okay, the other side. Clap once. Clap twice. You go 1, 2, okay? Clap once, clap twice, clap 3 times. Okay, we can all see. Okay, while we're getting seated, nimkaribisha Stefano. Jaribu kupatia mambo mawili matatu. We have heard his amazing advice. We have heard his wisdom and his expertise. Now tuone kama tunaweza kuipa skills kidogo hizo ambazo alikuwa anatupatia ili tuweze kuziemploy sasa. Tusitoke na theory tu, bali tutoke na practical.
Kabisa. Haina nini. Yeah. It doesn't have
unataka adapter.
Yes, adapter. Type C on, yeah, and also the adapter for charge. Mine is short. It's just Type C. Mine is short. This one?
For the projector, yes.
Actually. No, still.
Itaisha chaji hapo present.
Nikianza kurani hizi na niliwaga zina drain na nini, nikianza kurani hizi kawaida tu haina shida. I don't know why. Power is not responding. Hakuna nanili ndefu, ila nanili extension. Sababu ya kwangu ingekuwa na extension, ya kwangu ni mita 1 ile. Sijapata nanili, sijapata. Yep. Stick it. Umefika? Why imegoma? Hamna extension nyingine, sababu tu advini easier.
Either ni cable sasa ndio nasema.
Yes, nasema ungekuwa na extension ingeweka ya kwangu. Sababu I have here a cable ambayo nilibahatika kupata window. Now which one I have to slide au kwenye Android Studio?
Kisha screen tutaona zote.
Oh, okay. Umeiona? Sioni au ya hapa sawa. Ngoja nitoe this infinite screen and then yeah, I think the handle. Okay, so we're going to look at how we do Kotlin and compose. You remember in the keynote, he said something like, Kotlin have a UI which have been asking for so long, and it was made. So we have the Kotlin and compose. So since there are people who say they have never done Kotlin at all, I will try to do like a quick introduction. It will be really quick because of time. Introduction to Kotlin itself before we jump into compose, because compose is purely done with Kotlin. So without wasting time, let's jump in and start, okay? So here is a feedback. I think we already have this link. Maybe we'll do it later. But I think a lot of introduction have gone into Kotlin that I'll be skipping some things, okay? So we already know that Kotlin is cross-platform, well said in the keynote. It is statically typed. If you have done things like PHP and Kotlin, Python, PHP is becoming statically typed nowadays, although it's not enforced. But if you did old PHP and you have done Python and JavaScript, not the TypeScript, the JavaScript itself, you know that there are no types. You can assign a variable, an integer, later you can use it as a string, you can do whatever. So that is dynamically typed, but Kotlin is statically typed. Once you say this is an int, that's it. It's an int. You can't change and put something else. It's a general purpose in that you can use in anything. It's a high level in that it's not a low level like the keynote speaker says. You know, it's not, you don't write it in ones and zeros, you know. You don't write it in assembly. So it's a very high level. It's almost English-like. Okay, so it's fully interoperable with Java. Now that's well said by the keynote speaker. And it's compiled to JavaScript, or it can. Okay, so then we'll talk about compose. We'll come back to compose, but what it is. So it's a UI framework for Android. And now it's going beyond Android, okay? Initially, it was for Android. I think they used this as a test bed. And now it's going beyond Android, like the keynote speaker said. And it's becoming as a replacement. If you have never worked with Android before Compose, you know, Android, it was using imperative. You know, we have two ways of making UIs. One is called imperative and the other is declarative. So imperative is that you say everything how it works. Like, if I click this button, bring this window. If I do this, do this. So you always dictate on how everything works. But declarative, it's you just declare this is my UI, these are my states. So when the state changes, you don't do anything, it reloads itself. It takes a lot of burden from you when you use declarative UI. And it's not specific to Kotlin. A lot of languages have its own. Like if you are using C++, you know there's Qt, it have declarative UI, and there are many others, but Compose is just one of them. If you are using a native Swift, they have Swift UI, it's also a declarative. You have a lot of others, so just to know that Compose is not the only one. By the way, Compose is the guy led to the party, okay? There were others before it came. But although you learn Compose, it is still fine to use the old XML way. It's not deprecated. So don't rush to start writing Compose with the old code base. It's good to write everything new in Compose. By the way, you can mix in the same code, compose and non-compose codes. It's fine, okay? It's simpler, but remember, it's not perfect. So there are some things, because it's new, there are some things that are better being done in the old way than the new. But for all basic purposes, you can use Compose, even making some complex UIs. But if your UI is so complex and it needs some components that are not available in Compose, you can mix the two and then make it work, okay? So how do we start with Now let's go back to Kotlin. We'll come back to compose later. You can install the compiler because, like we said, we need to compile Kotlin to the native code. And for Android, the native code, it means to the JVM, okay? So we need to compile to the bytecode. So how do we do that? We need a compiler from the Kotlin. So that's how you install it. If you have a Mac, you can just, if you are using Mac and you don't have Brew, you need to go for a refresher course. I expect you should have one. So you just run brew install Kotlin, and then it will install the compiler and all the tools you need. If you use Linux and you are using Snap, then that's it. You can install using that code. Otherwise, just download it from the JetBrains repository, and then you can do what we are going to do. The next thing we are going to do, you must have a Visual Studio Code or something. Now you can have that IntelliJ idea, or you can have all other complex IDEs, but I don't suggest you learn with IDEs, because if you learn with IDEs, you will not know. Like if I ask what was exactly idea doing when Yesaya was running that code, you will not really know, because it hides a lot of things that are going on. Okay, it's good when you are developing in a real environment. It's good because it speeds your time, but when you are learning, it's not good. So you have to have an editor. You can have Notepad++ or any editor of your choice. But for now, you need Visual Studio, and you need the plugin to give you a syntax highlighting and other goods. So if you search Kotlin in your Visual Studio, mark 3 million or more. It's the only one that have that count, okay? So you can still do it without that plugin, but it gives you a nice syntax highlighting, debugging, and all those stuff. So it's good for Kotlin, okay? So then we have a few things to know before we continue. The first thing is that Kotlin, like many other languages, it have entry point, okay? So if you have done programming in many languages, you have entry point. Sometimes it's hidden, like in Android. Android starts the programs for you. But if you have programmed in a other language, you know there is always an entry point. And in Kotlin, it's called main, okay? So you can write a file, put that main, and do whatever you want to do. So you can have a lot of classes, but your JVM will start from here. So you have to instantiate everything that you are doing from here. And this is the command to compile the class. So let's say our file is called hello.kt for Kotlin. Then you have to run with include runtime. Otherwise, when you are running the file, it will say it's missing runtime. So we are saying, okay, when you are creating that Java file, it's a Java archive file, include also the runtime, so that when we run it, have everything included. And how do you run that Java file? It's just an old way, because it's a normal Java archive. Okay, so that is the quick introduction of what you need to have to start, okay? So now let's see some basic concepts, because you need them so that when we start compose, you can, we will see it in the moment, and then we will see the data types, okay? And then you will see what else? Boolean is the data type, character strings, arrays. And then we will see the control flow. How do we control the flow of the program? Because as a programmer, you need to control how your program runs depending on different conditions. Okay, so sometimes you want to branch, because control flow have only two ways. Either it's a loop or it's a branch, or a combination of both, loop and branch and loop and branch. And then we look at the exceptions, and then we look at the packages, and then we look at the functions. Okay, I'm just going quickly so we start doing it. In a function, there are good things there that we look at. And then the final guy here, before we go to async. Okay, so I will go very quickly because of this time we have at hand. Okay, so let's create a file here. So let me close, this is a Lily project. Okay, so let me create a file here. So it's a Kotlin file. I will put it in the desktop. I will call it example.kt. By the way, Kotlin have a playground. Okay, we can just skip all these things and go to the playground. It's quite simple. I think it will save us a trouble. You will do yourself with VS Code, but let's use the Kotlin playground because everything is already set for us. The command for compiling and everything, so we can test it without a lot of trouble. Okay, so do you see this? Anybody who does not see it? Okay. So here you just come and run it here, and then it. Okay. So you see here down here, it's hello world. Okay. I think I zoomed too much. So they don't have a place to set font, fortunately. So we'll have to do a little bit of zooming to.
So bring that down.
Yeah, it doesn't give me a place to pull it down and adjust it. Okay, so while he's looking for that, that's a result. So you can use that one if you don't have everything pulled. So let's look at the syntax. Okay, so how do you declare a variable? It's super simple. You have two kinds of variable, you know, in the world. There are variables that are changing. We call them mutable variables. And then there are those constants, which we call them immutable variables. So you define them differently. So let's say we start with mutable variable. You start with the var key. And then you set the variable name. Let's say it's a name. That's all you have to do to define the thing. We are saying we have a variable called name. It's of a type string. Now, you remember one of the features of the Kotlin is it's type safety. So that one we have said this name will never be null. So if we assign something like is equal to null, then if we run that, it's an error. Because null cannot be a value of non-null string, okay? So you have a way of defining things that can be null so that you can interoperate with Java because Java values are always nullable, okay? So you can have that one and then now it will work. So those are two different variables. The first one is is a string and this one is a nullable string. Those are two strings, but they are different data type according to Kotlin. One can be null, another one will never be null, okay? So if we didn't have Java, we didn't need that nullable. If the network didn't return anything, then how do you represent it? And it's not a string, so it's an empty thing. So the little word requires null, and that's why we have it, okay? So if you want to say it's a string, it's an integer, so again we say var, let's say age, int is equal to 10, okay? But we can have age nullable by putting a question mark, just like in the string, and so forth. Boolean is the same, we give a Boolean value. Okay, so you have a Boolean value the same way, right? Okay, then the next thing is the function. We already have a syntax of a function there, so we'll create another function here. Oh, by the way, if it's a constant, we just use var. L instead of R, and then it's a constant, it never changes. So if you say val x is equal to 2, which means this is an int, because Kotlin, remember, it have type inference. It infers from 2, that 2 is an integer, so my data type is an integer. So if, again, we say val 2, and then we try to assign x is equal to 4, it will not work. Really, because x is a constant, okay? Cannot be reassigned. So then we have functions, okay? I have to really run, we have functions. So function, you put the keyword fun, and then the name, and then the function itself, and optionally, because it's not required, you could put argument 1 of the type integer, maybe argument 2 of the type string, and then you can say, what does it, oh, it's, I'm mixing with the Swift. It have to be this, it returns the string, and then we can say return, let's call this age, let's call this name. So we can say, okay, name, this is how you include a variable inside, inside the string, aged, age. So if we run it, it will tell us the name and the age. So let's remove this one, and then let's say this was Caleb Jordan, and then when he was 15 years old, long ago, not today. So now we can call the function name, then it's applied the argument. So to age, this one, we can call it N and 8 just to differentiate. Okay, so age is equal to A, and name is equal to N. Or you can pass them by, if you put the name, you can even interchange the argument, and it will be fine, because it will look at the name, the argument. So if you run, it will,
You have to print.
oh, I'm not putting the var here. Let's say result. Yeah, result, then print line. Print ln, result. So if we run it, you see Caleb Jordan 15. But we can also exchange these arguments. We can start with the name and age. Still it will work, no problem. That's called name the argument. When you are passing the function, you name also the argument. The order doesn't matter. But if we pass only N and A, it's not going to work really, because the function requires age first, name second. So if we do like that, it will say there is argument mismatch. Okay, so if you are lazy about carrying the arguments order, then pass them as name the argument. So that's a function. But in a function, we have something else I want to touch. It's called, you know, in Kotlin we have, actually this is not a special concept in Kotlin, but we have it in Kotlin. There are other languages that doesn't have, or they have recently added. We have higher order function, a function which takes another function as an argument, or returns function as argument, okay? So I will not go and do an example, but you can take it as an argument, okay? Some people call them lambda and all those stuff. I don't want to confuse you, but I wanted you to know that one. And then, okay, we have few things also to talk about. Some other things were already discussed here, so they made my life easier. So let's talk about, we have two more things to talk quickly. Okay, we'll find another time to talk in depth, but let's talk them quickly. The first one is the OOP. That discussion of classes helped me a ton of troubles. So we all know what class is. So I'll just show you how do we do them in Kotlin. Okay, so it's almost like every language does. So it's a class, Then let's call it student. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Then you'll have to define argument just like you define a variable, only you append with public, private, and protected. And then if it's a public, you don't have to declare it public because by default all Kotlin properties are public. So we can say this student have age, var, we have to say it's a var, age, it's an int, okay? And you don't have semicolon if you have check. You can put semicolon, but it's redundant, it doesn't do anything, okay? It's there just for guys coming in Java, just not to cause syntax errors when they put a semicolon. So you can have private name also, var name string. Then you can have a constructor if you wish, but we really don't need a constructor at this level. It's just a simple class. It doesn't do anything. But you can have a constructor, and you can have multiple constructors, the primary and multiple secondary constructors. And another thing is you can have initializer. If you want to initialize something, like we want to initialize those variables, you can initialize them there, or you can have a special block code init. And then you can say age. Oh, okay. Sorry, let me just mute it. Okay, so age is equal to 10, and then name is equal to somebody. And then you can put methods just like you declare a function, so it will be fun. Get name, get full details. Because you don't need to create getters and setters. I will show you what you can use for getters and setters. So this one is a void function, so we say it's returning, okay, it's not returning anything, it's just printing, println, and then you have age and name. So here in the main you can create our object, let's call it O, it's an object of the student class. And then you can do o.get details, and then you can run it, and then you can see the result there. You should print the result there. So that's how simple what unresolved what. Unresolved get details. What the name of the function? Get full details. Sorry.
Print line.
Print line. It have also that thing. So haraka haraka haina baraka. Unaenda unakosea tu kila wakati. It's okay. So where did I call this one? Get full details. Okay. So there were a few mistakes there. You have 10 somebody. That's the name. Okay. So Kotlin have a lot of, few of course, not a lot of class types. So we have, this is a normal class like others, but we also have supposed to be maybe tens of codes. It's just, how many minutes are remaining? So I have 25, so it's 20. Okay, cool. So, that's a Java class, okay? So that's a quick introduction to the object-oriented programming. We have not talked about a lot of things. I need to touch on two things. In object-oriented programming, we have two paradigms. We can work by extending classes. Almost everybody knows about inheritance. Almost everybody knows about that. But there is another better way that we always run from because we don't want to learn. It's called composition. How many have heard that, even that word composition? Only one? And somebody also did like this. I'm not sure if okay, so when you are extending something, you can do either by inheritance or by composition. So how do you do by composition? By inheritance, of course, it's simple. He is my father, I inherit everything that he has, right? It's important to know. And finally, let's talk about one more last thing, because before we jump into compose, we have one thing called coroutine. You heard the keynote speaker here talking a lot about coroutine. CIO is made of coroutine. So what is a coroutine? You know, we came from threads, right? Coroutine was just a theory, and then we came from threads. We came from processes. Everything is running in a process, a different memory, different resources, and then some clever guy came and said, why should one program have multiple processes? They can share resources. Okay, so he came with the mass threading. We have a lot of threads, they share resources and what, right? But they are still heavyweight, because like when you call run, either you have to abort it or you have to wait until it finishes, right? That's what the thread does. But now you have these coroutines, they are just like micro threads, you can call them that. Look at them as small threads. So you can go process, thread, even a smaller thread. They use little resources, but they have this peculiar behavior that you don't have to cancel it. You can just suspend it for a moment you want and then let it go. Okay? So you don't have to abort it. It can run at some point and say, okay, when you reach here, stop, and then continue. And the good thing is that coroutine can run in any thread. So you can have two threads available and you can run different coroutine in the same thread. So they preserve resources, okay? So at the heart of the coroutine, you have suspending function. So what is a suspending function? It's just a function like we saw there, with that peculiar behavior that it can suspend its execution and continue later, right? So normal function, we call there a function name. You can't stop it. If you put, for example, a delay in that function, it will freeze everything until that delay is done, then it will continue, right? Matching that. Do you know JavaScript? Yeah. So in JavaScript, it will be something like async await. But it will be async without await, because await, it means that it will have to wait the execution. So think like you are firing a lot of async. Okay? So everyone executes in its own context. It's not exactly the same, but that one will give you an idea, because coroutine, they are asynchronous. Okay, just like async, but they are not really completely like async await, because suspend function does not have a keyword like await or something. Okay? We are not going to touch it right here. Yes? Case? Scenario? You will see it in a moment. One of the quick cases that you can send, let's say you have an application, okay? The user is typing something, and then you have to bring some information from the network. Okay, so you can let the user complete the form while you are fetching those information. So you will fetch. So you will launch multiple coroutine. One of them, maybe it's fetching information from NIDA. Another one is fetching from Brella. Another one from let's say, TRA. And then you disable those, you know, those boxes for all. So the one TRA, when it finishes, you enable the box for TRA. So you don't have to affect any execution. Everything does its own way. And when it's done, it brings the result. So it's completely asynchronous. It uses a little resources, because it can run in any thread. And then, of course, you have that advantage which you could get from promises. Okay, so those are the ways you can run async code: threading, callbacks, features, and promises in the execution order than hello. But this is a coroutine. You have that lambda there launched. It launches a coroutine. Okay? And inside the coroutine, it has to delay for 1 second. And then print world, which means it will execute. When it reaches a delay, it will suspend that function. So the whole block in the launch will be suspended. But it will continue to execute. So it will execute hello. After 1 second, it will print world. So instead of printing world hello, actually it will print hello world because of that suspension. Okay, so normal function don't suspend like that. But coroutine does it all the time. Okay? So now let's talk about the Jetpack Conf said it's a UI that's declarative. Now if you have done Android, you know you had to declare the XML for the UI, right? Then you have to write the code in that XML into the UI. Then you start dictating what to do with that inflated UI, right? In Compose, you write everything in Kotlin. No XML, no what. So everything is in Kotlin code. And it's written in what we call composables. So what is a composable? It's just a normal function with @composable annotation. So you will see them in the moment. And the Jetpack, at the heart of Jetpack Compose is the state. So what is the state? It's a variable that holds a state of an object. So if you have an age, and then you have a state that is holding that age, so you will have, let's say, holding 10. When you assign, let's say, 11, a value of 11, that state will change, right? So when the state changes, all the composables affected by that state, they recompose. They recreate themselves without you doing a single thing. So if it was 10, if I change it to 9, for example, user types 9, it will recompose everything automatically without you doing anything, okay? So we see how we declare that state. And then like the XML, Compose gives you a different widget to compose your UI, okay? And what we are going to do quickly, we are going to create just a list of popular movies from the MovieDB. Okay, so you can just go to developer.themoviedb.org, get your key, and do whatever you want to do. So let me just go to this is what we are going actually to build, that simulator. So you can see we have a title, we have an image, and then we have a summary, okay? You can go and check my GitHub. So just hold on for a moment while I'm showing you what I did, and then you can do it later. You can download it later, and then once you download it, you can play around. After this session, I'm going to invalidate the key. Basically, what you do is just create a new project. I'm not sure if it's readable. Let me see if I can zoom it. Yeah? Can I change what? Yeah, it's at least to the light one, okay? So let me change it. So what should I put? This one light? The function you want, but you cannot call I mean, you have to use a special block to do that. Okay, so the first thing first, let me show you the dependencies that you need. Okay, so here is what you need. So the first library that you need is view model, because you are going to use, okay, so This is the converter for retrofit. And then you need coil compose for displaying images. Okay, it's very easy to display images with coil compose. Okay, if you use other libraries, it's a little bit tedious, but you can do it. And finally, we have the interceptor for intercepting our requests and responses. So retrofit uses OKHTTP. It was hinted here when we were talking of CIO and other things. So retrofit at the bottom, it uses these. Yes, what it is? MVVM. So you have a M, it's a model. V is a view. Now in web we have the C, it's the controller. Here we don't have the C. You have the VM, the view model. So basically you have the views for presenting the data, you have the models for dealing with the data, and then you have the GRU, which is the view model, which talks to the data and supplies data to the view. So that's a recommended structure. Okay, so if you look here, we have the main activity, the view model, which will help us deal with the data. But you have also the data. So the data part, I didn't put it to make it simple. But always you will have repositories, okay, which actually deals with the data. So here my repository would have something like this retrofit and all those. If you are using, you are catching your data locally, you have the room database, the SQLite database and all that. Because I didn't want the repository, sorry, which is part of the model. So model works with the repository as the M part here. So forget about the top. Like I told you, I said this part of the top should have been pushed to the repository. For simplicity, I put it here. So this is not part of the view model. So the view model starts from here. So you have movies as a state. Remember states? How do you declare that this is the state? Here it is. So it's a mutable state of flow. Now flow is a data container that I don't want to talk about because I will confuse you right now. We don't have time to explain it. But think of it as a container which have data and every time can give you that data without losing it. Think of a container that have water. Every time you require water, it can put the water without water going out. Now that's magic, right? If I put water and they remain here, it's magic. But that's how it works. It gives you those data without releasing it. So every time, so for example, when you change the configuration, Android kills every screen and it recreates again. So the view model will still have that data. So when the screen have been recreated, the view model will save the same data. It will say, okay, that data is this one. So you don't lose the data. So if you have worked with live data, this is a replacement for live data, okay? So this one is private, the mutable one, because we don't want somebody to to change it from the UI. Everybody wants to change it, it should be via view model function call, not directly, because it will be a mess if you allow it to be changed. So that's why we have another variable, which now is public, which is a normal state flow that handler, so it's like a centralized way to collect all of your exceptions that happens. So if network timed out, or if the data came that were not correct, or anything crashes in the system, if you use the coroutine handler, it will bring that exception there and the program will not crash. But if you don't use the coroutine handler, it means that if something happens and you didn't use try catch, the whole program crashes. So you don't want it to crash, use the coroutine handler. So here we are just printing the stack trace of whatever happened, right? So now here you have the view model scope. Every view model have a view model scope. So a view model scope, you can think of it as just a launching pad to launch your coroutines. So every time you want to launch your coroutines, you can call view model scope the launch. Now you can launch it in a UI or in the I/O. Always when you are fetching a network, that's an I/O operation. So it's advised you use the I/O. Now I'm adding the handler as part of the coroutine because I don't want the program to crash if anything goes wrong there. I want it to send my things to the coroutine exception handler, and the program should just remain intact. Okay? So that's why I'm adding it in the coroutine scope. So then, okay? So this is an interface that have your thing. So I put only one endpoint to make it simple. So once you create this interface, you can come and build it in a repository, not here. In a repository, or if you're using the dependency injection, you can build it and inject it in the repository. Okay, so here you can see I'm creating the logger for logging my requests, and then I'm adding it to OK HTTP. I say intercept everything we are sending and receiving and log it so that we can see what we are sending and what we are receiving. You will see it in the moment when it's in action. And we are adding another interceptor. We are intercepting the request, and we are adding this header for authorization. And we want to send the API key, this one. Okay, most of the time you store it in the preferences, and then you send it with every request. But I want things to be simple, so you send it there, okay? And then we build now retrofit. We pass our client with these parameters. Our base URL will be this one. We want to use JSON to convert those objects when we are receiving a JSON, or when we are sending our object, convert them to JSON. And then we create it. We want to get an instance of this class. So that's the API. So API will consume the method in this one, okay? And we have currently only one method. So we call it get API movies. So it will hit that popular endpoint you see in the moment, and it will bring us an object of movie response. Okay? So what do? We launch a coroutine because we want to push it in our state flow here. We want to push it here to alert all those who are listening to that one. Okay? So you can subscribe. It's a pub sub kind of thing. You can subscribe. Something pushed there, it will alert you there is new data. Okay? You will see. So here we just push it there. So we get it from the API. We convert it using retrofit to movie response, and then we push the result, which is the list of movies. If we go to this result, it's just list of movies, right? We are just ignoring all these other things. You could put the detail that there are this amount of movie, this amount of page. You could even do the paging, next page. But I wanted it to be simple, so I ignored all those and pushed just movie. Okay, so that's the backend part, if you call it. It's a model, view model. So then you have the view that displays things, which is this main activity. Okay, so in main activity we have just set content. Okay, so we have this. This is if you look at it, let me show you. It's just a composable. Okay, that is theming the list of list of movies. So that list of movies put in a state so that when that list changes, everything recomposes, right? Okay, so then here we put this scaffold. This is where you put your top bar, you know, your icons, your logout button, your what, all those stays there. So I just ignored everything. You can put the bottom navigation, you can put a lot of things you can put there. But I just ignored it and just put inside this one, I just put a lazy column. If you have worked with the imperative part, this is your recycler view, things together, and it's complex. But here you just get the size of the movie. So you just say, okay, in my movie state, give me the value now, not the state, the value, which is the list itself, and then the size. So it will give you the size of the list itself. Remember, movie is not a list. It's a state of those lists. It's representing the state of those lists, whether they have changed or not. So now we are saying the value, which is the list itself, and then we are getting the size. So now it will automatically, that items will go around looping everything and then presenting you with this value here as the index of the current item in the list. So what do we do here? We pass this into another function. It's called movie row. This one. It will everything in one file. You read the file, it have 2,000 lines. No, don't do that. Because sometimes you just want to change something in the row. You don't have to scroll 5 minutes just finding where the row is, or Control F every time. It's not a good one. So break them into functions. So this represents a row, break it in a row. If a row is too complex, break it even further into its own component. So what does the row do? It represents a text, which is text whatever movie title it is. The font size is 24 SP, and it's bold. And we want to have a padding of 8, up, down. So if you want to put a padding in left or right, you could put, but I put the padding everywhere of 8 dp. Oh, wow. I'm far beyond time. So let me just, because this is the end of the thing. So this is where a coil library comes. It represents that image. So it just takes, this is the root for all the images, and then it takes the poster from the movie, and then it represents it there. And this is the bottom text that represents the, oh, this was supposed to be description or something. I don't know. It's something else. I put a title again, but this is supposed to be a description, some sort of overview, not a title. So it should give us an overview of the movie. And this one is a line that divides after row. So it's that simple. You can see compose is super simple. So when you run this, then that's where you get this one. So let's run again, because it have title at the bottom. Let's run and get some description. So that's how you work with the compose. This is very simple, but you can solve very complex problems in a very simple way by using compose. Super simple. If you have done recycler view, you could know that I would be spending more than 15 minutes just configuring it. And those 15 minutes, because I have a code where I'm copying somewhere of already written recycler view. But with compose, it's like 3-4 lines. You have the equivalent of recycler view. So it's super simple, straightforward, no XMLs, which means no errors in find by ID, because you can reference a wrong ID and then it crashes. So no more those stuff. And you have pure Kotlin. You don't have to learn XML, you know. So then I want to show you, while we are at it, I want to show you something. The log cut, it takes a little bit of time loading the images. So you see, these are the response and the request that we are sending. You see, that interceptor is logging this. So we actually call this movie, and then this was the response. You can see the JSON is this one. These are the list of movies that came and they were converted, and then, you know, here we are. So you have the Kingdom of Herbs, and then it gives you the description. You can scroll the Civil War, you can scroll whatever, and that's all you have to do to get this one. Super simple, and you get the results. Now, few things. Number one, you don't put your API key in your code in the real world application. If you are in the other talk that we had for build AI with AI, you know, we created something with how to handle the code. If you need those slides, it's there, and the code is in the same GitHub. You can see how to do it. So you don't put it there. And you don't handle the network, the database in the view model. You handle them in the repository, right? Okay, so that was it. I have used the 15 more 18 more minutes than my assigned minutes, but I tried to run and I failed. But yeah, I'm not sure if we'll have a question and answers. I'm not sure. If you don't have?
Maybe 2 questions only.
Okay.
2 questions.
2 questions. I hope I didn't confuse you. Because if I confused you, nobody is going to ask a question. Okay. Any question?
So how many of you here have worked with React? Any form of React? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, a lot of them, 5.
Okay, so now the question is, how similar do you find this with React? The state is similar. Okay. The components and the composables.
Yep.
Actually, that's a nice catch.
Yep.
Who else?
I think the states are somewhat.
The states are somewhat similar.
Yeah.
Nice, actually. And that's the concept, I guess.
Yeah, so once you master what is the state, how it works, once you master what composable is, how it works, and you have to know coroutines. It's imperative to work with this guy. Without that, you are going to have a very difficult code because you have to create your own version of coroutine because it is not going to work without it. So make sure that you learn the basics, then go to the OOP, then go learn the coroutine, then learn MVVM, and then jump direct and write your code. It's super simple. The power of conciseness of Kotlin plus the easiness of compose is an argument to a composer from a parent. So a parent creates a state, and then it passes to the lower composables, which can pass to the lower composables. Others separate between the login and the profile. So it comes only with the ID, then you have to request the profile, the API. Others, they bring everything when you log in. So if you work with such a thing, you want to pass back like the ID of this logged in user. So some people will just take a shortcut and it's not proper because if something wrong goes in setting it, you are going to have the old one or you are going to have nothing. So you pass also the function, a lambda that when login is successful, give me an ID. So ID can be an nullable integer. So you pass a null when it failed or an integer when it's successful. There are a lot of ways of hoisting the state, okay? So it depends on the context. You can just go and see state hoisting in the documents, and then you will see even examples. So you'll pick and modify it to your own use. But either you pass the state as a parameter, or you pass a lambda so that you can be notified of something. So you choose which one works for you. Yeah, you want to add something?
No, I wanted to ask, was your question related to the equipment? Okay.
Yeah, so the second question here, and the last one, I guess. Yep. Okay, I will ask you also a question. Sometimes I answer questions with questions, so bear with me. Mtu akikwambia kwamba ukiweka kichwa chini ya gari kitapasuka, will you have to test it? How do you know kwamba ukiweka kitabust? And you have never tested it. There are people who have worked with Java since 1990s. So when they tell you that it's difficult, it's really difficult. One example I'll just give you here is a data class. We say data class, name and age. You remember, it's a one line. In Java, you have to say class, that. You have to define the constructor with those two. You have to put the equality comparison, that one equals. You have to define the hash, hash code. You have to put the getters and setters, and then you get the equivalence of data class. So you don't need to go and learn. That guy is difficult. Now, we have not talked about null pointer exception. The hardest of it all. It crashes and you don't know where it crashed. It just tells you null pointer exception. And then unless you are logging a lot of information, you will never even know where it crashed. So you see, Java is difficult. We just didn't look at the type safety Kotlin. We didn't have time for that, maybe for another time. But ukitumia Kotlin properly, you will never face a null pointer exception. You will never face it. Okay? So you don't have to learn Pascal to know that it was a terrible language. You can just trust the guys who wrote Pascal and COBOL and what. So, yeah. I hope my two questions are, unless akiongeza swali lingine, I think I'm done with those questions. And I hope there was something to this presentation. By the way, you can get these slides. Last time nilijaribu upload slides build with the AI zikanishinda. It was a big file and it failed in LinkedIn. It failed almost everywhere. So I have them. If somebody needs them, you can give me whatever place I can send them. And these also are here. If you need them, the code is always in the repository. So thank you. And if you have another question, I think we can.
So we all came in. We saw this. We all came in. We saw this whole slide and the schedule. Although we really did not follow it because we are trying to be dynamic about it and all these other environments. So you should know everything here is also written in Compose, just to show you a little bit. And I want you to know that it's not running on Android. So the code that was displaying whatever that was, the whole thing, it was written in Compose. And it was written in Compose to target a desktop application. And it was just a short demo of what you can see. So the things we really didn't get to show because we didn't need kikubwa too. And that is really the power of this thing. And all built with Kotlin and built with Compose in general. So that being said, I urge you, everyone, to try it out. You don't have to go in all out. Just check it out. See what's this fuss about. Mbona Kotlin inaonekana majamaa wanaiongelea sana halafu you haven't even given it a test. So go give it a test drive. Uzuri sasa hivi kuna a lot of tutorials, ingawa I feel like nyingi zitakuwa about Android. That's okay. But just know the knowledge unayokusanya hapo, you can actually use it kwingine. You just have very slightly different constraints but nyingine. Kwa kifupi tena, I was going to ask, how many think this code would run on Android? But I think by now you know the answer, right? So that being said, this talk concludes our event for today. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for showing up. It was a good. How many had a fun experience at Kotlin Conf? Interesting. How many did not have a fun experience at Kotlin Conf? Be honest. We are taking constructive criticism, even criticism, even if it's not constructive, just it shouldn't be destructive. Cool. So it looks like you all had a blast. Once again, we like to thank our sponsors, ambao ni SimplyTech pamoja na Neurotech for facilitating us. Together with the guys at JetBrains, they have done a lot. They have managed to facilitate us, tukapata swags kama hizo na nini. Most of these swags ambazo mmepata zimetoka actually moja kwa moja from their offices St. Petersburg. So it's really an honor, and it's not every country gets to do Kotlin Conf. So kama wametusikiliza, it means they believe that they can have a very decent community katika this section, right? So I think this winds up our conference. Mnaweza tu mtawanyike sasa, but you feel free to hang out, interact, ask for numbers, etc. Kuna swali lolote somewhere? Good. Okay. This concludes Kotlin Conf, jamani. Thank you. Thank you.